All right, graphing linear inequalities. Let's get right down to it. First thing we need to do, graph our lines. The nice thing about this example is both of them, y is all by its lonesome. They're already both in slope-intercept form, so we can go straight to graphing. So let's go ahead and do that. What is the slope and y-intercept of our top inequality? I think I heard m is 2 and b is -1. Is that what you said? You would be correct if that is what you said. M is 2, b is -1. Very good. What is the slope and the y-intercept of our second inequality? M is -1 and b is 5. Now let's graph these. We're going to begin with b, move with m. We'll start with the top inequality first. Our y-intercept is -1. That's the b value. And then my slope is 2, but I kind of want my slope to be a fraction. So what can I put underneath this 2 to make it a fraction? A 1, right? And that means I'm going to go up 2 because I want to move in the positive direction since 2 is positive. And then to the right 1 because 1 is positive also, and I still need to move in the positive direction going laterally. Laterally is just a fancy way of saying side to side or left to right. So I start at -1. I go up 1, 2. I go right 1, drop a dot. Go up 2, right 1, drop a dot. I can also start at my y-intercept and reverse both of those directions, right? I can go down 2. I can go left 1. I can go down 2, left 1. Really, you only need 2 points, but there's nothing wrong with getting more. All right, I have a very hard time drawing straight lines, so I typically try to get more points so I can make my lines as straight as possible. But I'll say again, you only need a minimum of 2. Once you have 2, you can break the line. Anyway, before you connect, you have to check. I want you to remember that. In fact, you should say it out loud right now. In fact, why don't you sing it? Before you connect? Yeah, I'm not going to sing. I don't have a good voice. But seriously, before you connect, you have to check. What kind of line type do we have for the top inequality? Solid or dashed? It's going to be dashed because there's no line underneath our inequality symbol. So I'm going to, oh, it is selected. All right. I'm going to try to use this fancy technology that costed the district a lot of money. And we're going to do a dashed line. Okay, that should be good, right? And somehow I got an extra thing in there and I want it out of there. So bear with me a moment. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Well, we will worry about the shading at the very end. Let's get our second line graphed. What is the slope? What is the y-intercept? The slope is -1. The y-intercept is 5. Begin with b, 5. And just a reminder, anytime you're graphing the b value, that's the y-intercept, you should always be on the north and south axis, because that's the y-axis. X is to the right, y is to the sky. Y-intercept is 5, boom, 5 on y. What's my slope? -1, right? How do I make it a fraction? I put 1 underneath it. What does that mean to do? That means I need to go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1, drop a dot. Now here I could connect if I wanted to. There'd be nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to get some more points just so I'm not fumbling too much when I'm trying to get my lines dropped in. I'm hungry, just saying. You know what today is? Today is Friday, October 19th. It's the teacher workday. And I am dragging. I'm so tired, but I want to get this video done sooner than later. So if I stumble a little bit, please forgive me. I'm running on fumes. Anyway, that's my sob story. Now, what kind of line type do we have for our second inequality, solid or dashed? Well, it says that we have a line in our inequality symbol right here. That means we should use a solid line. So I'll start at my y-intercept and then drag across. Okay, I'm going to fix that in just a minute. Okay, let's get the other side going. Okay, now I need to kind of fuse these a little bit better together. All right, that's good enough, I think. All right, I mean it's not perfect, but still, you get the idea. You want to draw your lines and get them to cross, if as long as they're not parallel. And now we have to decide the shading. To decide the shading, you're going to rely on your inequality symbols where y is all by its lonesome. Here's the thing: when these two lines crossed, they made 4 sections of our coordinate plane, 4 wedges. And there can only be one winner. Only one of those 4 sections is going to get shaded. Let's see if we can figure out where that's going to be. I'm going to switch colors. Let's go with, go with a nice festive fall color. All right, our top inequality is the dashed line. What inequality symbol do I have? I have less than. So what I'm going to do, since I'm less than, that means I want to be lower than the line. Not above it, but lower than it. I'm going to make a bunch of these straight marks underneath my dash line. Now, what that tells us is one of those 2 sections that have these straight marks in them, one of those 2 sections is going to be our winner. There's no 2 ways about it. So these 2 regions up here, forget about them. Neither of those are going to be where we shade at the very end. But now let's determine where our winner is. Switch colors. I like purple. It's such a pretty color. Don't judge. Don't judge me. Anyway, our second inequality is the solid line. And what is the solid line telling me about where to shade? It's saying shade above me, on top of the line, be above it. So I'm going to make a series of straight marks now above my solid line. And what we want to look for is tic-tac-toe. Where we get tic-tac-toe is the region of the graph that we want to shade. And that's where the solutions are. Now the thing is, the solutions go on forever because these lines go on forever. That means our shaded region is going to go on forever, but we just need a little bit of shading to show where the solutions are. Here's the deal. The next example is for you. We're going to advance to the next example. You're going to pause the video, work it out, and then when you hit play, you're going to see all the work and answer in its glory. Pause that video right now and work this out, please. All right, check it out. Here's what I got when I graphed our system of linear inequalities. I got B is 2, M is 1/2 for the top inequality. -3 is our y-intercept for the second inequality. The slope is -2 for the second inequality. Begin with B, move with M. Start at 2 for the top inequality, this one. Go up 1, right 2. Make your line. And remember, before you connect, you have to check. It's going to be a solid line because there's a solid line in the inequality symbol. The second inequality, start at -3. Go down to right 1. Make your line, but first you have to know which kind of line it is, solid or dashed. It's going to be a dashed line. All right, now that you have the 2 lines graphed, we got the cross, now we decide where to shade. The top inequality is saying underneath, lower than, because it's less than. So I used this greenish color to do some straight marks underneath the solid line. And then our second inequality, we want to be lower than it also. That's the dashed line. And I used red to do some red marks. And look for the tic-tac-toe pattern. Where we get tic-tac-toe, whoops, is where our solutions are. And then that's when I color in this region to indicate, that's where the winners are. Those are the solutions. All right. Next example coming your way. Oh no! Oh my goodness, y is not by itself. We're in trouble. Nah, no we're not. We know how to get y by itself. It's not that big of a deal. This is what I would like for you to do to get some practice with getting y by itself. Please pause the video, get y by itself, hit play, and check your work and answers against mine. If you're really zealous or overzealous, I don't think that's the right word, and you do the graphing and the shading, that's fine. But just keep in mind, when you hit play again, the entire answer won't be shown. Only the part where y is by itself will be shown, and then we'll do the rest together. All right, let's do it. Enough rambling, Miller. Let's get to it. We have 2x, and I guess I should pause the video before I go any further, right? Duh, blonde moment. Sorry. See you in a bit. Bye. All right, check it out, peeps. The top inequality, I subtracted 2x. I divided everything by -3. We have to remember that when we multiply or divide an inequality by a negative, we have to reverse the direction of the inequality symbol. We divided by -3. The symbol has to reverse direction. It was facing west, now it faces east. A negative over a negative makes a positive. -6 divided by -3 makes +2. And our slope is 2 over 3. The second inequality, subtract x from both sides. Boom, boom. Divide everything by 2. What kind of 2? +2. And that's why the inequality symbol did not flip. We're dividing by positive, so it stays the same direction. And important thing to remember is, in front of this x is a -1, and -1 over 2 is -1/2. -1 over 2 is not -2. So we got to be careful not to make that mistake. All right, now let's pause the video, and I want you guys to just graph the lines. Don't worry about the shading yet. We'll do that together, but I want you to have a go with seeing if you can get the correct lines graphed, correct line type. Pause the video. Let's do this. All right then, check it out. This is what I got when I graphed the two lines. Let's start with the first inequality. It's telling me to start at 2 and then to go up 2, right 3, because the slope is 2/3. So up 2, right 3. I'll write that, the m and the b for us. M is 2 over 3, and our b was 2. So I started at 2, and then I went up 2, right 3. Before you connect, you have to check. It's going to be a dashed line, because that's what inequality symbol we have. We have an inequality symbol without the line underneath it, the solid line, so that tells us it's dashed. The second inequality, subtract x from both sides, divide everything by 2. And now we start at -5. B is -5. Our slope is -1/2. Start at -5, go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, or you could go up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. Before you connect, you have to check. It's going to be a dashed line. Sometimes what happens is when you graph the two lines, they won't cross right away, so you might have to extend one or both of them until they do connect, because when they cross, it's going to make 4 sections of the graph, and only one of those sections is going to be our big, big, big winner. And on that note, let's decide where to shade. Let's start with our top inequality. All right, this one, so let's go to our work. We always want to base the shading where y is all by its lonesome. So we need to use these two inequalities to determine where our final shading is going to be. This inequality has a greater than symbol, so that means I want to be above the line that starts at 2, and then we went up 2, right 3. This line right here, I want to be above it. So I'm going to do straight marks above that line. And now we can look at the second inequality. Yellow not so good. Let me switch the color. Our second inequality, where y is by itself, it too is greater than also. That means I want to be above I want to be above that line. And the second inequality is this line right here. It's hard to say it's the dashed line because both are dashed, so I have to point to it. Where the intercept is -5, y-intercept is -5. And we want to be above that line. So above that line, and really I could stop doing these straight marks because I already found my tic-tac-toe-like pattern, but I'm going to keep going anyway. So this area up in here, where the red and the whatever color that is, greenish color, cross and make that tic-tac-toe pattern, that's where the shading is going to take place. Yeah, boy, that's looking good. All right, and as far as the shading goes, it doesn't have to be a coloring contest. Just a little bit of shading to show where the solutions are and then move on. Next example coming your way. What I would like you to do is pause the video and work it out. But before you pause the video, I am very sorry about this. I wish I would have caught this beforehand, but I didn't. We need to make a quick correction. Make -10 -12. Please now pause the video and have a go with it. All right, have a look at this. What do you think, huh? Not too bad, right? Top inequality, get y by itself. Subtract 5x from both sides. Divide everything by 4. Because we're dividing by positive, we keep our pity paws off of the inequality symbol. Don't touch. It stays the same direction. When we simplify, we get -5/4x minus 6. Beautiful, is it not? The second inequality, subtract 3x from both sides. Divide everything by -4. Because we divided that inequality by a -4, you better put your pity paws on that inequality symbol and flip it. When we divide a negative by a negative, that makes a positive. +3/4. -12 divided by -4, +3. Very good. Now for the graphing. The first inequality. And I know I probably should be writing these out, so let me do that. Our b is -6, our m is -5/4. We start at -6, and we tried to go down 5 right 4, but that just, there wasn't enough graph to do it. I'm sorry about that. But we can correct that. We don't have to go down 5 right 4. We could go up 5, left 4. Up 5, left 4. Before you connect, you have to check. I almost had a nervous breakdown there. Oh, it got me so mad. Here I am telling you guys to check before you connect, and then I go and louse it up, screw it up. I fixed it now. Now things are all better. Anyway, the first line is supposed to be dashed. Now we go to the second line. What's our m and what's our b? Let's get that going. So m is 3/4. Our y-intercept was 3. So we start at 3. We can go up 3, right 4, or we could go down 3, left 4. Excuse me. I was about to sneeze. So let me do that again right quick. Start at 3, go up 3, right 4. Or we can go start at 3, go down 3, left 4. Before you... I'm so mad at myself for doing that. I'm sorry. Before you connect, you have to check. All right, this was supposed to be a dashed line, which I corrected. It is now. Looking good. Now for the final touch, we have to decide which section is our winner. We always base that decision off of where y is by itself. Never, ever where y is not by itself, but always where y is by itself. The line that starts at -6, the one that's sloping down, its inequality symbol is less than. So that means I want to be lower than it. I want to be underneath it. So I did some red straight marks. And then the second inequality, where y is by itself, I want to be lower than that line also. So this is the line that's shooting up. I did some purple straight marks. And where the tic-tac-toe pattern is made, that's where we do our final shading. 20 minutes. Okay, this video is getting on the long side. I'm sorry about that. One more example and then we're done. Please pause the video and try to solve this on your own first. We'll be right back after these messages. Well, 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 check this out. I got y by itself. I graphed both lines. I used the correct line type this time. Yeah. Very good. Then I went to go and do my shading. And the first inequality, it says to shade underneath. That's this dashed line that crosses at -2. So I used some orange straight lines. And then I went to do the shading for the up dashed line, the one that starts at 4. And it's saying we want to be above that line. So I did some purple shade, not shading, but straight marks. And I didn't get any tic-tac-toe pattern. There's no overlap between those two marks, purple and orange. So what does that mean? That means that this bad boy, all right, this system of inequalities has, I hope you're ready for this. I better put it in a color that is attention grabbing. This system has no solution. All right, that's it, peeps. That concludes the video. I know that was a lot to get through, but I'm glad that you took the time to watch this video. I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your e-learning day. If you're watching this on November, what day would that be? 2nd, I think? Maybe it's the 3rd. Anyway, I don't remember. Today's October 19th, so I haven't really thought that far ahead as far as what date the e-learning day is. Anyway, video's over. Thank you for watching. And at this point, what you'll need to do is hop onto Math Excel and complete the assignment that goes along with this video. And then after you complete the assignment with an 80% or better, you will then be able to access the online quiz. All right. Good job. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.